We had a break in the weather, so we took advantage of it to do some more work while we could. We're still in the damage assessment phase of the hull and deck problem areas, which will eventually lead to a plan phase, followed by an execution phase, I hope. In an effort to locate leaks and to survey the hull to deck joint, I decided to remove the most damaged sections of our tow rail as well as the stanchion bases. I cut the tow rail with a cutoff wheel disc mounted to an angle grinder, being careful not to make contact with the fiberglass, of course. Difficult, but possible. Removing that section of the tow rail revealed the source of a mystery leak that had plagued us since before the storm. It also exposed a section of the deck joint that had compression damage below the stanchion base, resulting in a 1.5 foot crack on the deck and midship, which you might be able to see where the wooden stopper plug is protruding from the stanchion hole. To survey the bow, I had to remove an anchor and our temporary bow roller, and since the bow chain plate was damaged and bent, I removed it to expose the glass beneath. It's kind of nerve-wracking on the bow without lifelines or bow pulpit. The bow, although damaged, was not so bad as I thought originally. My bigger concern is the compression crack of midship.
This is how we have to get in to get the nut out. We sailed about 5 to 7 years before we ever even thought about buying Moksha. We used to be lake sailors on Lake Lanier on a 30-foot Pearson that we absolutely loved. My husband came home one day and basically said, "Hey, I bought a sailboat." I mean, no, he did a side job and had just enough money for this sailboat that was for sale, and was like, "Hey, honey, this is meant to be. I've always wanted to sail." So we bought a sailboat. He taught himself how to sail on the lake. Talking to people, watching YouTube, just going out there every single day and figuring it out. And he did. He learned how to sail on the lake, which isn't easy. You have to constantly tack. You're constantly watching your depths. You're constantly having wind come from all different kind of directions. It's not like on the ocean where you have a good steady, like, oh, I'm just going to have that wind for the next, 2 days. But it was constantly changing. You're like, oh, I've ducked behind this island, change. Ducked behind that island, change. Now I'm out in the open, change. It's just continual, and the amount of other boats that are out there at the same time. It was just a really kind of crazy place to learn how to sail, and that's what he did. So we had the Pearson, and we were complete noobs. He, of course, was an electrician in the past, and had already had some fiberglass work under his belt, and a long time ago he did new plumbing. He already had some of that going on. We kind of learned how to work on a boat there. We learned how to work on the teak and the fiberglass and all of the rigging and everything that we didn't know how to do. We learned on the Pearson, and she ended up being beautiful. Scott made a butterfly hatch for her, put all new gunnels on. Just, we fell in love with that vessel. It wasn't until Scott was diagnosed with cancer that we ever really even considered moving to the ocean now. We thought about it for retirement a long time ago, but the cancer kind of pushed everything in hyperdrive and made us want to take all of the skills and everything we learned on the lake and just go all in for the ocean. Today is day 0. Transplant day. Say hi, because it's your transplant day.
Hey, transplant day.
That's the worst excited face ever. Try again. These are all the drugs that Scott is on right now. So we sold the boat that we fell in love with, bought Moksha on the water. We've been on Moksha since, so we had some experience, about 7 years worth of experience before we actually got on Moksha. So we had an idea of what we were doing and what it was going to consist of. When we were working on the Pearson, the kids would help. It was a full family effort. It was a really cool way for the family to bond, and everyone kind of grew up learning what to do on the sailboat. The kids were there since they were tiny. We were anchoring and swimming and sailing and working for as long as they can remember. And that's really how I wanted to raise them.
A while back we traded one of the kayaks we had for a broken popped sup board that someone had. I definitely thought I was getting the better end of the deal, but it kind of just sat rolled up during the winter, and then when it wasn't warm enough, so for my birthday Scott fixed it for me and it holds air and it's awesome!
Scott is making us an outboard stand for our outboard motor for our dinghy. We haven't actually started it. Well, it got banged up in the hurricane, right? And we hadn't started it for about a year before that. I know, tisk tisk, shame on us. But it was about a year. I know, it sucks, right? You don't want to think that you can let something go that long, but we kind of were landlubbers there for a second and got a little too comfortable and let the engine go. So we've created a stand, and you don't want to start something right up after you've let it sit for that long. So we're going to take it out, do some basic maintenance on it, especially after the hurricane and all that salt water got inside, and then really give it some love and then try to start it up. Next, we're gonna change out the gear oil. Boop, right there. Channel, they're supposed to be filming like a follow-up thing on their family to family program, and my family is playing cards, just waiting. It sucks. Scott trying to learn GarageBand. because we're kind of sick of not having our own intro song, and I don't know, we're not really finding anything we like, so why not make your own, right? We'll do it. We'll get there. What are you doing, Scott? What are you doing?
Trying to do music.
Do music?
On the guitar. I mean, on the computer.
What kind of music? What's it for?
I'm trying to make music for our channels. That's the program you gave me. What's up?
The Irish jig.
Excuse me, what's Irish, by the way? I commented on the ladies' bustle. I won't do it again.
On the ladies' bustle. What?
You can stand or you can...
Try about it. They won't let me sit down. Because you have a face mask on.
They won't let me love my family.
What?